Hi, this is Rachel from the blog thislovelylittle.farmhouse.com, and today I'm going to share with y'all the birth story of our son. This is our second child. If you haven't seen my first birth story, go check it out. I'll link it in the cards, and I'll put it in the description box below too. It was a doozy, and thankfully this was a very different experience. But if you haven't listened to it, you definitely should listen to it too, so that you kind of understand just how different this whole experience was, because that was highly traumatic and horrible, something that I would not wish on anyone. But anyway, so I'm going to share with y'all today how this birth went, and yeah, so how everything went, and introduce you to James here. He was 7 pounds 4 ounces and 20 inches long. He was born almost a full week before his due date, and it wasn't a case of missed calculation. It was actually a week before his due date. So let's jump in and I'll tell y'all kind of what happened. So to start off with, the day before was actually my husband and I's anniversary. It was our 5th anniversary, and we had gone shopping for freezers. Freezers are kind of hard to come by right now, and we have a huge chest freezer that it's very old, it's ancient, and we're kind of paranoid that it's going to go out and ruin all of our meat, because we have we raise our own meat, and so we have a bunch of it at one time, like 300 pounds of meat. So we went and bought a few little chest freezers to replace that one with, in case it goes out, and kind of just replace it and then have the old one as a spare. So anyway, we were shopping. We were gone a long time, because where we went was like an hour and a half away from the house, an hour, 15 minutes or something. So go over there, do all our shopping, and coming home. We were gone for a really long time. And, okay, this is a birth story. I'm just going to say right off the bat, there might be some TMI, maybe some kind of, stuff that some people might think is gross, but it's a birth story. So what do you expect? But anyway, so all day while we were gone, I was super, super mucusy. That's the TMI, which I had not previously been. And so all day I'm thinking, okay, I don't think we're going to make it another week, because this is very different. This is very unusual. Like, I didn't experience that with my last one, and I definitely thought, I don't think we're going to make it a whole nother week, because I'm thinking probably the next couple days this is going to happen. This seems like, things are getting started or something. I didn't know. But anyway, so, and it was actually, I think I said already, it was our anniversary. So we went out to eat before we came home, and I ate way too much food. So we got home late, got the other one in bed, finally got in bed super, super late. And I woke up really early in the morning, and I don't even remember. I probably had to go to the bathroom. Well, did that, and then at 5 o'clock on the dot, I had my first contraction. And it was pretty intense right out the gate. Like, I knew that it was real. I had been having tons of Braxton Hicks the whole entire time. I had tons of Braxton Hicks with my first pregnancy, so it's definitely something that my body does. And I knew right off the bat that this was different. It was a pretty strong contraction. And so they started at 10 minutes apart. At the first one, I started timing. I was like, okay. And I started timing, and the first 4 or 5 were 10 minutes apart exactly. As soon as they started, I got up and started finalizing our prep, getting the rest of my stuff packed. I had made a list so it would be easier to know what I was supposed to get. So I was getting all the rest of the stuff packed, and I woke up Eric so that he could be loading the stuff in the car. And we were just trying to get ready to go, because my mom was super paranoid that I was not going to make it to the hospital, because we live an hour away, 45 minutes to an hour away, and my last labor would have been pretty quick. She was super paranoid because your second labor's faster and all that stuff. And so we were getting ready to go because we still had to take Mary Emma to my parents' house and then get to the hospital. So it wasn't just go straight to the hospital anyway. So we had almost gotten the car loaded up. It was almost 6 o'clock. I had texted my mom at 5 when that first contraction hit, just to let her know, hey, started having contractions and we're loading stuff up so we can head that way. Well, I had not heard back from her, so I called her at 6, and we almost had the car loaded up, and we were getting pretty close to being ready to go. Called her at 6. She had not gotten my message. She was sleeping. And so, she said, okay, and all that stuff. Well, 6:20, around 6:20, between 6 and 6:20, like between the time I talked to my mom and 6:20, the contractions went from 10 minutes apart to 3 minutes apart. Like no transition between there, from 10 to 3. And I went, oh boy, this is not good. And so I called my mom back and I said, okay, so this is what happened. The contractions just went from 10 minutes apart to 3 minutes apart, and you might need me at the hospital to get Mary Emma. And as soon as the words came out of my mouth, I thought, that is not going to work, because she is almost 3 and she's at the stage where she's very sensitive to like people in pain and people crying, things like that. Like it really makes her upset. And so I thought, that is not going to work. She is going to fall to pieces. I'm not one of those pretty labor people. I'm not one of those people that like, I can just relax and it doesn't hurt. That does not work for me. My contractions were very intense. I was already just right from the get-go, I was having to stop and breathe through them because they were really intense. And so I thought, that is not going to work. Well, about 7 minutes later, I called her back and said, I don't think we're going to make it to the hospital, because they were so intense and I felt like I needed to push already. And it had been an hour and 30 minutes in my labor, and they were coming 3 minutes apart, and I felt like I needed to push. We were not even out of the house yet. And at that point, my mom's like, okay, well, she's going to meet us there. We were fixing to go. We actually had decided to go at that point, to a hospital that was closer, because I really did not think we were going to make it to the hospital. At that point, standing by my washing machine, feeling like I needed to push. And so Mary Emma had just woken up because we had been going in and out of the bedroom. And as soon as she saw me, she lost it. She fell to pieces. She was so upset. And so we had to come up with some kind of solution fast, because there was no way that we were going to make it an hour or 45 minutes or however long it took with her in the car, because she was like hyperventilating, crying. She just completely fell apart. Fortunately, my husband's aunt and uncle live right next door to us, and they had just gotten home the night before from vacation. So he called her 6:30 in the morning, asked her if she could watch Mary Emma until my dad got here to pick her up. So she came and got Mary Emma, and then we jumped in the car to go, and we were going to go to that hospital that was like half as far, so we probably could have been there in 20 or 25 minutes. So we left. I was laid out on the back seat. I had actually, because my mom was so paranoid about, us not making it to the hospital and all that stuff, I had actually gotten a cheap shower curtain from Walmart, and I had a whole bunch of towels in the car. I was prepared, just in case. You never know. Because also, you never know if you might get stuck in traffic. Our traffic is pretty bad going to the city where we were going to deliver and all that stuff. So we got it out there, about to get ready in the car, and I told Eric to put the shower curtain, lay it on the back seat, and put the towels down and stuff, because I really did not think, I really thought we were fixing to have a baby in the car. I really legitimately did. So I laid out on the back seat, on the shower curtain, towels and everything, and we left. My friend who was going to be my doula, she actually ended up meeting us about halfway to the hospital. And because she met us and got in the car with us, we decided to go ahead and go to the hospital that I was previously planning to go to, not the closer one. And so she was in the car. I actually had been on the phone with her since we left the house, and she was coaching me on breathing, helping me breathe through the contractions and stuff. And so we kept on going. She met us and jumped in the car. We kept on going to the hospital. And about halfway between when she met us and getting to the hospital, so about 3/4 of the way there, I thought that I had gone through transition and I was 10 centimeters incomplete because the contractions changed, and I was like, okay. And I told her, I said, I think I'm already through transition. I think I'm 10 centimeters incomplete. And she was just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, she didn't really say a whole lot, but it felt like I was, because it just changed. It was weird. So we pulled up, and they opened the car door, and the little people, I guess, I don't know if it was a nurse or like the person there who's checking temperature and stuff. And when they opened the door, she said, "Oh goodness," and sent someone running to go get a wheelchair. I think probably because when we went in the hospital, the nurse said that she could see bloody show, and so I'm sure that that's what the little lady at the door saw and sent somebody running to get a wheelchair. And so, like, they opened the door and they're telling me to get out. Well, apparently, when I'm in labor, I have difficulty moving. So, like, I was laid out on the seat. I mean, I was, all the way through, ready to push I should have been pushing. And so I'm laying there, and they're like, want me to get out. And I'm thinking, I can't move. Like, I can't. So finally they come over and they're like maneuvering me out of the car physically, get me in the wheelchair. And I have a friend who a couple of months ago had a baby at the same hospital, and with all the virus stuff going on, she said that they took her in there and they actually put her in this like temporary room and hooked her up to the machines to make sure that she really was in labor, and did the coronavirus test and had to wait to get the results back for that and all kind of stuff. And so they got me in the wheelchair and they wheeled me straight up to labor and delivery. Like, there was no doubt that I was in labor. There was no doubt that this baby was fixing to come out. So we get there, and I think we got there about 7:20, somewhere around there. So somebody did come in the room and do the test after we got in there, but they were doing all their stuff, and Eric and my doula were with me. And so, like I said earlier, I wasn't even aware that my mom was there at the hospital, but she was. She had met us. She had gotten there either right before we did or right after, because she lives the same distance from the hospital that we do. She had gone and parked the cars, and then she said she had come back and sat on a bench outside the hospital. And there was this security guard lady there, and that she had been there when we got there, had seen us go in, all that stuff. And she asked my mom, she said, "What are you doing out here?" And my mom said, "Well, they won't let me go in." And the security guard, the lady said, "You're her mama, and she needs her mama. You need to get up there." And Mom was like, "Well, I don't think they're going to let me go in." She said, "You're going. You're her mama, and she needs her mama." And so the security guard lady took Mama inside, because the policy is that you can only have 2 people there. And so Eric and my doula were there, and Mama, just said, well, she wasn't going to be able to go in, which I actually I had decided before that I was going to get my mom to go. But as it turned out, it didn't happen that way. So anyway, the security guard lady took her in and got all the stuff, because you have to check in and get a tag and all this stuff, and sent her up to labor and delivery and said, "You're going to be able to go in there and you're going to be able to stay." So the security guard is who got Mama in there while I was having the baby. It makes me think of, like, I don't know if y'all remember in the 90s that show Touched by an Angel or something like that, where God puts this angel where it needs to be to help somebody or whatever. That's what it makes me think of, because it just was, this lady was there at the perfect time, and probably one of the only people who would have actually been able to get her up there. It was crazy. It was really crazy. But so Mama got to come up there, and she got to be there the whole time, even though supposedly you're only supposed to have 2 people. But it was really special that she was able to be there. Very much, like a miracle. So She was there. So we got in the room and got the tub filling up because I really wanted to do a water birth. That was something that I've read lots about. I've heard stories, and I just thought it sounded good. So I wanted to do it. So they got me in there, filled up the tub, and I got in the tub. And there were actually tons of people in the room. There were at least 6 people, I think, like 5 or 6 people that worked at the hospital, nurses and aides and the midwife. And the only reason I can think of is because I was considered high risk because I was a VBAC. They had 2 fetal monitors hooked on me the whole time, and then they also like external monitors. And there was one nurse that her only job was checking the fetal monitors. Like, she would come over there and she would check them and reposition them and be watching all that. And so there was a lot of people in the room. Between all those people, my husband and my doula and my mom, it was a very crowded room. But anyway, so I got in the water. And I don't know what time it was that I got in the water. Maybe, I don't know, a little bit before 8 probably. And so for the whole time, even since we left the house, I thought I had been pushing. But apparently I had really not been pushing because, he still hadn't come out. But the midwife, it was probably, I don't even know how much time passed. But a good long bit of time passed. Mama said probably about an hour of time had passed when the midwife finally told me that I wasn't pushing correctly. So she just let me, labor that whole time, not pushing correctly. But I didn't push with Mariemma because when we got there, she was breech. And so I didn't get that experience. I did not have a clue how to push, obviously. So she finally tells me how I need to be pushing. And I think I probably pushed for about 45 minutes. And then he was born. And, so he was born at 9 o'clock on the dot. And so if I had actually known how to push, he would have been born in the car. But apparently I'm really good at not pushing. That's the thing that I have had practice with both of my labors now, is not pushing the whole ride to the hospital. And so for probably at least an hour at the hospital this time, not pushing was what I was doing instead of pushing. So he was born at 9 o'clock, and I actually got to pull him up out of the water and catch him myself because my mom had told the midwife that was something that I really wanted to do. So she let me pull him up out of the water and put him on my chest. And we sat there for a little while just enjoying it and resting after that hard work because it was really hard, very hard work. But so I was able to have my natural water birth VBAC that I wanted so badly. I'm so incredibly thankful for how different things turned out this time and how different my delivery was with him. And it really blows my mind that, the next day, 2 days after, I pretty much felt normal. I was walking around, I fixed my hair, I was, changing diapers, because for the first, I don't even know how long after Mariemma was born, I was on narcotic pain medicine. I couldn't get on and off the toilet by myself. I didn't change diapers for probably a couple of weeks. Like, I was in no shape for anything. I pretty much was in the bed the whole entire time, and I was in excruciating pain. So to think that you can have a baby and the next day feel pretty normal it just kind of blows my mind. But I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that I felt that way this time. Things went so much better, and I just couldn't be happier. So that is my natural VBAC water birth story. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you had a previous C-section and are going for a natural VBAC, I really hope that it encourages you. I would encourage you, if you had a C-section for any reason, to go to a chiropractor while you're pregnant. I did that starting at about 22 weeks. And I really think that that's a huge, huge part of the reason why A, he turned and he didn't stay breech, and B, why my labor went so fast, because everything was lined up correctly. He was in the right position. I didn't have any misalignment in my hips or my pelvis or anything like that. So I would strongly encourage you, if you're going for a VBAC, to go see a chiropractor who specializes in the Webster technique, because I do attribute a lot of the way my labor went to doing that. But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this, and if you are going for that, then good luck. I hope it goes well for you. Be sure and check out the next couple of videos. We'll be doing some updates, some baby updates, and things like that. And I hope you have a good day. Thanks for joining. Bye. What did she say about the nurse? Had things turned out differently,